Like,
That's exactly what I mean. You're
Like-
saying that I'm stupid because I'm pretty. That's
No, you are
misogynistic.
stupid. You are stupid though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure, guys. Doing not a great job of beating the misogyny allegations there. Just calling a woman stupid for not playing your little debate lord game. Fresh and Fit are some of the more prominent members of this community. But there was something I saw recently that I feel like could shift the cultural viewpoint of these guys. Obviously not from well-adjusted human beings that can recognize immediately that they're fucking weirdos, but from the people that watch them, which was their like deeply racist tirade they went on about when they were in like a little content drama with Abba and Preach. Clips like that remind me of like the Sneeko Moist Critical thing, or Just Pearly Thing's relationship with Nick Fuentes, how it's pretty uncritical. All little straws on the camel's back of the death of the Red Pill movement, in my opinion. That's my prediction, but who knows? Could be wrong, could be totally wrong. Just my hypothesis. You're lucky you're pretty because you're dumb as fuck. That was fucking everything. Found a stupid woman. Oh, found a stupid woman. She's so stupid. Oh, she's stupid and pretty. Oh, even worse. Here we have a Brett Cooper reaction, the Daily Wire astroturfed right-wing streaming content market void filler. The show is called The Comment Section because most of it is her reading comments from the comment section because she has zero funny, interesting, insightful, charismatic, or any other positive descriptor thoughts. That it's just fully empty.
It's giving lavender baddie with the space baddie glasses and the gloves and those course the inches and the belly. If you guys are partying, be safe tonight and have fun. And last but not least, Happy New Year's, besties.
I was just informed that that is a man. Normalization has gone too far. Just saying. That's just all I can say.
I am tired of Earth.
It is all you can say because you don't say shit on your show. You just play movie clips. Damn! Me when I watch Brett Cooper and want to puke because it's so boring. But yeah, what's up with this just being like really mean to some random person for doing a video, a silly video? People that go online and post videos like this while being fat and like gender non-conforming are braver than the troops. Boundless cruelty, just boundless. Fully normalized cruelty, just being cruel to some random person because of how they look and how they present.
Somebody said, bro is 5'11" horizontal. Another person said, day 24 of asking you to run at full speed. I want to see that, but with the tiny, like, weird glasses. That would please me.
Thanks, Brett. Thank you, Brett, for your input. Love Brett. You know, always bringing out the good, bringing out the laughs. She's also one of 10 of the failed Hollywood actors, a part of the Daily Wire, which I always think is hilarious. Deeply untalented people that turn to right-wing grifting to make money, and it works. They make money, but they'll never make anything that's good.
The ultimate thing.
The car clips never get old, man. Cash cow talk. I'm a cash cow, baby. Love making some money off of women bad podcast clips.
Trying to do a little psychoanalysis that might be preventing someone like you from attaining your dream girl is you have this block where you think so much about body count, so much about her being a high-value woman.
So you're saying I'm going in with what? Too much expectations?
I don't even think it's expectations. I think it's judgment. A little like too much judgment instead of taking into account all these other things. You're focused on these like minuscule things and you're
minuscule.
I mean, you're just not taking, you're just saying body count.
This guy sucks so much, and it's not even because he's a deeply insecure, misogynistic guy. Obviously, that's the case. But because he just can't hold his own in a conversation. His voice falters. He looks around instead of directly engaging with the critiques. And then once he shuts everyone up, he finally gets his soapbox moment, and he just goes, body count is important because promiscuity.
Minuscule?
I mean, you're just not taking, you're just saying body count. That's like so.
It's like, bro, if you're going to be a misogynist, at least get good at it. Top 10 least effective misogynists in my book. I remember when I was like looking into this podcast, going to the guy's Instagram, and there was a bunch of comments from guys being like, hey man, you know, I love that you're being like a misogynist and it's great for the program, but can you please like get more masculine? Because you're making us men look bad by being so soy. And as a dude constantly under fire with the soy allegations, you know, I think that's great because being soy is okay, but not when you're an alpha male podcaster. Just quick and easy way to piss off the target demographic.
That's like so physical. Like, are you not?
You're focused too much on the past too. You're not really focused as much.
There he goes. Listen to these ladies talk. They are so dumb, right? Producer behind the computer with no microphone.
Here's what's so funny to me. I think women are unaccustomed to hearing men communicate and articulate their preferences, standards, and boundaries. Women are the queens of going for exactly what they want. You guys have laundry lists of criteria that a guy needs to meet.
This is one example of the preferences thing being a cudgel against criticism. I don't think I made a good argument in my last video about this. I wrote on a screen how preferences are sometimes a double standard and how that's the problem with them, but I don't actually think that that's the case. I don't think there's necessarily a moral element to someone having a preference for someone who hasn't, had a lot of casual sex or a lot of sexual partners, because you could imagine a scenario where they themselves aren't experienced and might feel intimidated or like they want to start out their experiences with someone that is similarly inexperienced. I think there's probably a case that something like that is probably fine. The issue is the majority of the time body counts are being mentioned, it is as one method to police women's sexuality, where a man having a high body count is cool and dope, and a woman having a high body count makes her a slut. And cultural norms like that can affect your preferences. So these women aren't saying you can have preferences, they're just saying they might be worth criticizing. All that is to say, preferences are preferences, sure, but why is also an interesting question to ask sometimes. I think the main thing the body count stuff stems from is just like insecurity. It's just plain and simple insecurity. Patriarchy instills in men intense feelings of competition. Like, of all the people this person has had sex with, maybe there's someone that's better than me. Couple pointers there, get good. And the person is deciding to have sex with you, not the other people that might have been better. But it's not a race, just give and receive nuts. That's all. Simple tips with Noah Samson.
I was a feminist when feminism was about equality, giving women an opportunity to find their rightful place.
Oh my God, we just found the most British person on earth. This is what happens when you put 10 queens into a blender and then out pops this lady.
Equality, an opportunity to find their rightful place, particularly in the public world, which was tremendously important and exciting when we achieved that.
So it looks like she's going off the legal definition of equality, which means once all the rights were evened out between the genders, legally speaking, that is when equality is reached. But obviously, aside from the fact that legal rights haven't been won in many places in the world, it's kind of like that argument that conservatives make where they say that because the civil rights movement happened, racism is gone. It's illegal, so people don't do it.
This would qualify as a racist institution, the state of Alabama.
Show me the law. You've named an institution you don't like, now show me the law.
Which is, of course, a little bit silly. That argument is a little bit different, though, because as she's about to go into, many of the advantages in society are shifting away from men, but not for the reasons she thinks, I think.
Feminism today, to me, is all about advantaging women at the expense of men. And it's become very much caught up in the demonization of males. I came across an article I wrote 40 years ago where we just started to notice how badly boys were doing vis-a-vis girls. What was becoming very obvious is there were also a lot of boys falling behind and not achieving their potential. We have really very much feminist ideology infiltrating all our education systems, systematic programs to continue to advantage girls.
So what she's talking about here about boys falling behind, especially in education, is 100% true. By pretty much every metric across all age groups, boys are testing worse, dropping out at higher rates. Girls are around twice as likely to graduate at the top of their class. But anyone who's trying to blame this phenomenon on something like feminism is grossly oversimplifying the issue. I'll leave an article linked in the description that references a book. It's called Of Boys and Men that looks at some of the potential causes for this. But long story short, is it's complex. Changes in the requirements for labor markets, social expectations of boys not adapting to a changing world, and attempting to paint a causal link between these changes and what she calls the demonization of males is a very ideologically driven perspective. And also there have always been subsets of the feminist movement that have exhibited that sort of perspective. That isn't anything new. I've heard this argument from several women who are a part of the old school feminist movement, and the modern feminists attacked these women as well. I mean, a bad argument is a bad argument, right? And also, how are arguments supposed to be counter-argued for if every time you do that, it's being framed as an attack? Baby behavior there, big crybaby energy there. Look at how The Simpsons changed how they treated Bart. It used to be, he's a troublemaker because he's genuinely smart, but the school system isn't built for him. And yeah, he's got some growing up to do, but he is growing up. Look, he's going to law school in the future. Now, anytime we cut to the future, Bart is presented as more and more of a loser. Meanwhile, Lisa, whose worldview has been utterly coddled by the show, is constantly being told that her potential is being wasted and needs to be nurtured, despite the constant support she gets. Okay, look, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't keep up on The Simpsons lore, so if anyone does, can you please fill us in on whether this is true or not? I just love that first line, though. Just look at how The Simpsons have treated this poor boy Bart. Thanks, feminism. The boys notice we just get called trash when we call it out. Obviously, a feeling is being communicated appreciated here and being connected with by other people. This comment has almost 10,000 likes. But I do think one aspect that's worth taking into account here is that there's a difference between calling out how feminism is making your life harder and calling out looking for support from those around you when you are struggling at work or in school. I think the men being called trash are probably mostly the former, but also it still is for many socially unacceptable to do the latter. And that's patriarchy, baby. Get it out. Get rid of it. All right, on to the next.
What is the most romantic thing a man can do for a woman, and what's the most romantic thing a woman can do for a man?
Okay, so I'd say the most romantic thing, I'll just use my own marriage, for instance. Obviously, for a woman being able to cook and clean, but I'll give some more specific examples like what I do.
All right, here we go. In a vacuum, someone professing their desire to cook and clean and take care of a home and be a traditional wife, you know, that is fine. I think that's fine. I think some might consider that choice feminism. I don't necessarily think in a vacuum that that's a good judgment on this phenomenon. I also think it opens up a big counter argument because there are still a lot of people that fall into this category that it's their preference, even though patriarchy has instilled that into them somehow. I don't really know though. I'm not that well-read of a guy. But the difference here is that this person is professing these values on a podcast that hates women, that wants to see women put in their place, that wants to see women chained to an oven. And so the only reason you'd want to do that is probably social capital. That's why everyone's on these podcasts. Maybe she runs a tradwife account. I don't know. But you know their reaction already from hearing her. You know what they're going to say and what the comments are going to say.
Being able to cook and clean, but I'll give some more specific examples like what I do. I wake my husband up with a massage and coffee every single morning, and every single night I'm scratching his scalp and like giving him a back massage until he falls asleep. It's important that he falls asleep first.
What? Okay. No, I take it back. I'm wiping his butt. I wipe his butt for him because he loves it. She's describing taking care of a baby. Change his diaper and give him a pat on the belly. The girl's face as well. Look, she's like, what?
And I would say something that's romantic that he does for me. Well, since I do all of the cooking, it's nice when he takes me out for dinner because it's like a little break and it's just special. And then also even just while we're here in Miami, he's kind of like my little bodyguard, like making sure if there's any men walking by, he's just like puts his arm around me and just making sure that I'm protected. That's what it's really romantic, and that's something that a woman could never do for a man.
Wow.
Just terrified of pedestrians. Every man on the street is going to attack my wife, and for that reason, I have a gun holstered in my hands at all times. For the inevitable cringe lord commenters, self-defense is important. Why are you hating on self-defense? I'm not. It's just funny to imagine people in board shorts and sandals walking by and you thinking they're gonna hit your wife on the head with a giant King DDD style hammer. It's just funny. That's all.
Fantastic. Wow. I like it.
You are blessed.
I think a lot of women should really take heed to what you're saying. It's really great
Some very good points. Both you guys.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like the term pick me. I've talked about it before, but this unambiguously going on a men's podcast to brag about how you rub your husband's chin until he falls asleep and burp him like a baby. This is wild. This is the best possible example I've seen. And I think that's super fun. And that's why he's walking around protecting you like a bodyguard. Can't even blame him. He knows exactly what he has. Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't cook and clean, so when someone's about to jump her, I just step back because I would only do that if I had somebody like her. These are the women that I would go to war for and die to protect. Me when I am doing war crimes to protect my women at home who actually is not affected by the fact that I'm doing war crimes. No, but I think a lot of men have this sort of protector fantasy. Oh, World War II. Those men went out there to get the Nazis so they wouldn't come get their wives. And whatever, fine, everyone has their own fantasies, right? But a lot of these gender dynamic fantasies are really divorced from reality. It's a lot of things that you wouldn't actually practically have to deal with. Because cooking and cleaning is something that has to happen every day. And I would guess that this woman has never been jumped next to her man. And it's not because he's a big tough guy, it's just because that's a really rare thing. So much more rare than daily home labor.
You go up and you punch Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the face. He's stronger than you.
Wow. Why? Ooh, I can't wait to hear this one. Pearl. Thanks, Pearl.
Why do women get an excuse? If a weak man hits a strong man and gets hit back, nobody feels bad for him. Why is it that if a weaker woman hits a stronger man and she gets hit back, he goes up to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, big jack dude, and hits Dwayne first.
Yeah.
Nobody is going to feel bad for him when he gets knocked the fuck out because you shouldn't have messed with him. Why do women feel like it's acceptable?
So this is another example of this philosophical idea that gets thrown around as a men's rights point. Equal rights, equal fights. Women should be able to get punched in the brain if they hit man first. And on first blush, you know, violence is bad. Someone getting attacked, regardless of who it is, might want to defend themselves. But is punching someone back the same as defending yourself? Especially if you're a bigger, stronger man? You know, it probably isn't. But more importantly, you know, this hypothetical could not be more divorced from reality. The vast majority of domestic violence goes in one gender direction, and that's not to disparage the male victims of domestic violence, but only one of these things is brought up in these spaces as a talking point, and that's the violent fantasy of men hitting women back. As if that's something that hasn't been happening in society for not billions, for a long ass time. Let's just say that.
The question to ask is the amount of money that you two girls are making on, is it worth giving up a family and love? Because any man that is worth his fucking salt that you would even be attracted to wouldn't put up with it. I can tell you right now. And you, my dear, are a depreciating asset.
Whoa, what's up? First of all, with this music, crazy frog ass beat.
My dear, are a depreciating asset.
But also, bro, you're a weird guy. You're a strictly weird motherfucking guy. I tell you right now, you ain't gonna do this crap. This guy went on that Jubilee video, I'm pretty sure, and he was so quiet. He was so quiet. But put him in a room full of like 19-year-old college girls, that's an alpha male right there.
Now, and you, my dear, are a depreciating asset. So every day that goes by, you're going to be less and less beautiful. And at some point, there's going to be a history of you doing that. As beautiful as you are, you're stunning, you're a pretty girl. But no man that is going to be in your league is going to put up with it.
I think this guy skipped that part of kindergarten where they teach you that people are different and that that's okay. What he's saying is him and his boys don't like OnlyFans girls. Him and the men he knows aren't into that and would judge a woman for that. But you know, not every person is the same. Some people value different things and other people have more open feelings about sex work and so on. So he's walking around projecting his values onto every person he sees and getting mad, actually, because people defy his values. And that's really messed up of them to do.
And so the question is, if you were truly in love and you had true desire for a man that would put his foot down with you and tell you how it was going to be, would you or would you not give up your OnlyFans?
No, I wouldn't. Same way if I wanted to really expand my dating pool.
Then you do not genuinely desire that man. You would not be in love with that man. Good job. Because if you were in love with that man, you would shut it down. And that day will come for you. It'd probably be way down the road.
Again, why don't I put on a hijab? Because then I can find a man who actually reciprocates, because Muslim men lower their gaze when other women
Any man that asks you to do it and you
by.
say no to, you're going to look at as a pussy. You will not respect him and you will not love him.
I know what you want more than you know. I know better than you know about your own life because I'm in a black tuxedo. It's so funny how threatened they are by the fact that someone's a sex worker, they're openly a sex worker, and that doesn't disqualify them from meaningful relationships. Oh my God, it doesn't disqualify you? I'm gonna poop my pants. I'm gonna poop my pants and wear a black suit. Once they get a taste of the money and attention, the idea to focus on just one man is damn near impossible for them. I have a YouTube channel that gives me money and attention. I like those things. Does that hurt my ability to focus on one person? No, it doesn't. Stop being so judgy. You're being so judgy. She honestly believes she can go change your outfit, who's who, and be viewed differently. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if that was what was said, but I think the whole point is that you can date people that aren't going to judge you for your profession, and that's kind of a prerequisite to being in love with them, you know? Someone that's going to judge you for your actions, if your values don't align in a relationship, you probably won't fall in love. But if they do, aside from their judgment of your status as a sex worker, then yeah, I don't think that's such a bad thing to say, nope, no thank you. Next.
She gets up and she says, Patrick, this is very hard for me to say this. And let me tell you why it's very hard. I said, what's that? She says, ever since in high school, I wanted to prove to men that I can beat them. So when I graduated high school and college, I opened up my salon. We do very well. I've made millions of dollars. My people and my work that work at the salon, they do very well for themselves. I drive a nice car. I have a nice house. I have money. I have millions. I don't worry about any of that stuff. You know what decision I made last night? I said, what's that? She says, I want a husband. I no longer want to compete with men. I need them. And I'm like, what?
Wow, this sounds like, there's someone's life story that shifted over time. Someone who pursued money in a career and then had a change of heart. I wonder if this will be weaponized to denigrate feminism. Let's see. I wonder. There's probably not, right?
She's saying this in front of 2,000 people with her sister sitting right next to her. And now she's getting emotional. How many 65-year-old women do we have to hear saying that I marched with the feminist movement and I bought into the fact that men are the enemy? I've never been married. I'm alone and I'm miserable and I wish I would have never bought into that philosophy.
That's a nice alternative to a dating app. Just do a speech where you say that I'm a millionaire and single and looking for a hot bod. Raise your hand if you want me to take you out to dinner at $1 million soup organization. The best thing about buying into this philosophy is that you can always unbuy into it by downloading Hinge. Like making a decision for your life that you end up wanting to change, isn't that like a pretty normal thing that happens? I get his point here is that they're brainwashed by feminist ideology to do things they don't want to do. But if the whole time she was doing that and obviously doing it for a reason, then she changed her mind, is that the worst thing in the world? I mean, that's just how life is, you know? I don't know. Maybe someone else has a better counter argument to this video, but I think it's just fun. I also like the lady listening on being like, wow. Harrowing story. Just, ooh, damn.
Men got the right to vote before women because men were subject to military conscription.
Fucking Brian, bro. I don't want any more Brian, his little voice and his little crap. Also, tell me this isn't the most dripless person you've ever seen in your life. Red flannel, stars on the hat. Patterns are going nuts, going all over the place. Decide on a pattern and stick with it, buddy.
Men, if you elected a representative to represent you in the government, that representative could then vote to send you to war. Men, being the exclusive, let's say, victims of forced military conscription, ought to have more of a right and a say. And men got a privilege.
You could cut this clip a little bit tighter, just saying. Speaking as a video editor, just cut out the places where he starts a point and then doesn't finish it and goes to a different one. Just cut that out. And then it might put up the facade that he is competent.
And that privilege came with a corresponding responsibility. That corresponding responsibility was you have to go to France and die in the trenches. You have to go get trench foot. You have to go get chemical gassed by the Germans. That was the corresponding responsibility. That's how men got the right to vote before women.
3 times he said corresponding responsibility. Look, I know I'm not really responding to anything he's saying here. I'm much more criticizing the form than the content itself. But damn, man. Damn! I'm also trying to figure out if this is an actual Ben Shapiro reaction or if someone just put a video on loop. Like in Ocean's 11 when they put the vault security footage on loop to trick the guys into not calling the thing. This is tricking viewers into thinking that Ben Shapiro gives a fuck about this video and agrees with or disagrees. I don't even know. There's no indication that Shapiro has any reaction here. He's just staring. Imagine trying to have a serious conversation with a girl wearing pink cat ears. Yeah, it's called being an adult. It's called being an adult, bro. Have a conversation with a person regardless of how they're dressed. Oh, you have pink cat ears. Oh, this is too triggering for me. I can't even talk to you. Yeah, well, fucking grow up, buddy. Some people wear pink cat ears. You can't handle it? Scary? Too scary? Also, there's no serious conversation going on here. He's doing a monologue. They're cutting back to the girls who aren't saying anything because he's rambling, but it's not a conversation. Let's make that abundantly clear. Also, yeah, if we take into account the fact that military conscription is still, I'm pretty sure in most countries, male, he's making a women shouldn't vote argument. Like, I'm pretty sure that's the implication here, right? I don't know, man. I'm getting tired of this crap.
You really, in your heart of hearts, believe like a woman who's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to like apply these conservative values and give it a good go. Like learn to bake, you know.
Learn. Me on my first sourdough experiment. I'm a Republican now. Pretty sure this guy went viral recently for being like pro-abuse.
If there's someone that's very, very young, might be really religious and like values marriage a lot and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, and then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really bad.
From who?
Would you? From both.
This is so rare.
Anyone so really.
Rare.
I mean, it happens.
Go on.
My point is, I'm just, even though it might be rare from what you guys think,
it is. Go on.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing. You can like separate. See, his Catholic background shines through. He knows. You can't divorce. You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the relationship.
People are just.
Look,
people nowadays are just pussies. Everybody fucking quit.
And then it was exposed that he's self-admitted to abusing someone before. Who could have seen this coming? Who could have?
pack my children's lunch and like do my best. You think a woman who decided to like start an OnlyFans is a way better choice?
What I'm saying is that with the way society is structured right now, for you to decide that you want to be a full-time stay-at-home mom, wife, parent at 18 or 19 is a more radical decision than trying an OnlyFans.
So this clip doesn't include the full scope of the argument being made here. So I don't know what his reasoning is behind calling that decision more radical. But I think this speaks to the sort of grossly inflated perception of how many people are privy to the idea of starting an OnlyFans and are actually doing that and taking the steps to do that. It's a very, very, very small percentage of people. Even though that percentage is growing largely, and the number of people that are seeing that as a viable option for a career is growing, obviously so. To insinuate that that's somehow like the majority or the culturally hegemonic decision as opposed to being a stay-at-home parent, I mean, that seems a little wild to me. I think the better description for the decision to be a stay-at-home parent isn't radical, but unattainable, because it's not attainable on a single source of income in a lot of places. So it's radically ill-advised, but this lady's gonna start talking now, so let's go.
Yeah, you described marriage, like traditional marriage of two young people, or compared it to a woman selling her sexuality. Exactly. Which is, it just shows that you're so desperate to cast marriage in a negative light.
Okay.
Traditional marriage specifically in a negative light by basically calling it a form of prostitution or slavery or subjugation of women. And it's simply not true.
Okay. Why cut out the response? You know, what's the agenda here? Cutting out the response to that claim seems a little odd to me. Yeah, well, you said this thing that was so mean, okay? That's why you fucking suck. That is one thing about the way these shorts are edited that's just so silly all the time, is that it's someone just preaching and maybe someone responds like briefly, but that response is never actually representative of a genuine response or like an argument, because if they did that, these videos would go less viral. People want to engage with getting mad at someone who is apparently demonizing the idea of a marriage, because that's what they want. They want a traditional marriage. So when someone's demonizing it, ooh, I hate it. I hate them. But who knows if that's what's even going on? And I don't care enough to go back and watch. But notice that about these shorts. They're all cut pretty similarly to portray one perspective or portray that perspective dominating the other because, you know, someone goes on a show not being prepared to fully debate lord.
Define misogyny.
Because they're normal. People who debate lord, which includes myself, I do a little bit, they're not normal. It's not a normal, you know, healthy thing to do or a way to view the world, because it's just like all the time. Some people just want to be normal and chill, and I so respect that. I wish I could do that, but unfortunately here we are.
I wish the dudes that marry you guys good luck. You guys are very strong, independent women, and like I feel like you're gonna give your guy a lot to wrestle with. My mother and my grandmother had the exact same mentalities as you guys in their marriages, and they gave their husbands hell. And I understand why you guys look at independence and like all the stuff that you guys have explained the way that you do, but like it's just like,
damn, bro, just say you don't have a good relationship with your mom and your grandma, apparently. What's with the dressing it up and all this individualism, rhetoric? My mom and grandma felt the same way as you two, always talking. My dad said, shut the fuck up, and they didn't listen, and that's why I think my dad is a cool guy. But for real, all the guys in this comments are just jerking off to women being talked down to. Yes, finally, these 304s are being shown what the real... Fuck you. I'm not even gonna finish this one. I don't care. We've seen enough today. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought. Thanks again to Temu for sponsoring the video. And to my patrons, love them. Gotcha. Great job. And I'll see ya when everything goes next time. Bye-bye.